and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is isnt. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back EFM. And if you're new but you'd like to join the family, all you have to do is subscribe, like, comment and share. So today we are doing a book review of this book that I loved so much, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One. I really enjoyed this book, and I feel like it's definitely one of those books that you need to read once in a lifetime, and it will definitely leave an impact. I would recommend this book to someone who is desperate to change and to see change in their lives. And so for me, I basically just, at the beginning of the year, because that's when I started reading this book, at the beginning of the year, I basically just went through, I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it a season, but I went through a moment where I just really just wanted to change so much about myself, because I felt like, okay, now that we're done with our degree, what next? And here it is, moving to a new place. I really just wanted to create a new me. I really just wanted to recreate myself and start acting like the woman that I've always wanted to be. And so if you are in that position, this book is for you. So let's get right into it. So 10 lessons that I've learned from the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. So the first lesson that I've learned comes from the observer effect in quantum physics that states that where you direct your attention is where you place your energy. He goes on to say that if you entertain an idea for a moment, you might start focusing on what you want instead of what you don't want. For me, this one stood out because I tend to focus on my lack, and I focus on what I don't have and what I need, and I just get into this moment where I start thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have this, that and the other. Instead of focusing on what you want, you place your energy and attention on what you don't have. Lesson number 2, your thoughts have consequences so great that they create your reality. I associate this lesson with the scripture, as a man thinketh, so is he, in the book of Proverbs. And your thoughts really do have great consequences. And I really need to get into a place where I start observing my thoughts. So Dr. Joe Dispenza also speaks about this, that at the end of the day, like before you go to bed, just think of all the things that you were thinking about and start basically monitoring your thoughts. Do you tend to gravitate towards negative thoughts? Do you tend to gravitate towards comparison? Do you tend to gravitate towards your insecurities? And so your thoughts have consequences so great that they create your reality. And your reality sometimes is a result of your thoughts. Lesson number 3. You have to make the decision to stop being the old you to such a degree that you make room for a new personality, thinking, acting and doing. This book also talks about how we have to, first of all, unlearn in order to relearn. We have to unlearn our old habits and our old ways of thinking in order to establish a new personality, because the moment you establish a new personality, that's when you start acting like her. So the more you start thinking of being her, that's when you actually start being her and you start acting like her, which means you start getting her results. Lesson number 4, learning new information and reading about great people in history who represent your new ideal is like sowing a seed. This I love so much because I love reading books. I like watching interviews, listening to podcasts, learning about people's journeys, just so that I know, or like I have a few nuggets to pick up for my own journey. Something that Robin Sharma says, he says that if you want to have a conversation with someone who has done great things, read one of their books. And it literally is like getting into their mind, getting to know what they think of, how they process things, and you get to know what is going on in that head. And lesson number 5. Knowledge without experience is merely philosophy. Experience without knowledge is ignorance. This one was a big one for me, especially because sometimes I tend to repeat mistakes. And as it says here, experience without knowledge is ignorance. So I tend to repeat mistakes, and honestly, if you keep repeating mistakes, it means that you did not learn, which means that you are ignorant of what life is trying to teach you. Lesson number 6. To change is to act greater than the familiar feelings of the memorized self. Acting greater than the familiar feelings of the memorized self. So there are times where I will wake up in the morning and tell myself I need to do A, B, C, and D, and I just end up not feeling like doing it. You plan something and then you don't do it, that is self-sabotage. And so I have to reach a point where I unmemorize my self-sabotaging habits. And I think Bumile Doba once posted something like this, where she said discipline and consistency is not a feeling, but it's a decision. And so sometimes there are days where you have to do something, but you don't feel like doing it, but you still have to do it. And so now that's when you need to start acting greater than the familiar feelings of your memorized self. 7. Nothing I desire for myself is out of reach. Oh, I love this one so much, because sometimes I tend to compromise my standard, and I think right now I am moving towards I'm at a place where I just don't want to compromise. If it's not what I want, I will not take it, and I will wait for what I want, because what I want is definitely out there and it's coming and it wants me more than I want it. Lesson number 8. The highest or the best version of myself is the version that has let go of all the disappointments of the past and is willing to embrace a new future filled with hope, healing, and purpose. There have been moments where I would be scared to do something because I've had bad experiences of it. And just because I once had a bad experience of it doesn't necessarily mean that experience is going to repeat again. Lesson number 9. Change is not built overnight. It requires dedication and consistency. So what I love about this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, right? He speaks of how the nerve cells that have hardwired will unwire. In order for you to experience change, you have to, first of all, unlearn, and then secondly, you have to develop habits consistently so that those new nerve cells can hardwire. And so Dr. Joe Dispenza goes very deep into this, like he goes very sciencey, and he explains it well. It's not too much, it's not overwhelming information for someone who doesn't really like science like that. It's information that you can process, like you can understand just by reading the book. And so he talks about this, and he goes in and he delves deep into it. And I really liked this because consistency is something that I struggle with, I'm not gonna lie. And like I said before, I have come to realize that consistency is not a feeling, but it is a decision. Number 10, cultivate a new environment that won't keep triggering the old you. Or cultivate a new environment that won't keep triggering your old habits. So, I have a personal experience of this one. So what I used to do was, I would sleep with my phone right next to me. And so whenever the alarm goes off, I would literally just take my phone and then give my alarm and then carry on sleeping, which is a terrible habit, and we are not doing that this year. normal sabotaging habits. What I have done because of that is that I take my phone and then I literally put it in the kitchen. I put it in the kitchen so that I have to get up, like get out of bed and then go and switch it off. It's like when I used to do that, phone and then I'll scroll on social media like Ngivuka Jackson, and I'm still like in bed and I'm scrolling on social media, like I'm going on Instagram, going on TikTok, which is a terrible habit, by the way. So when I wake up in the morning, I keep my devotional book right next to me, and so that when I wake up, I get up out of bed and then alarm, like go to the kitchen, alarm, and then I come back and then actually read my devotions for that day. So overall, I hope you enjoyed this video. I think this is definitely like my first book review. I love reading books. Let me know what you guys think. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, and share. I want to hear your thoughts. If you've read this book before, let me know. Let me know the lessons that you've learned from reading this book. And yeah, thank you very much. Bye.